Hello everyone, today I will be dealing with class 9 chapter 5 Cell, the fundamental units of life. So this will be the introductory video of this chapter. So let's start. So first, what comes to your mind when somebody says cell? So cell is nothing but a functional unit of life. What is functional unit of life? Suppose you have cell. Every organism is made up of cell, cells. Okay, from one cell it will divide to form many cells, 1 to 2 cell stage, then 4 cell, then 8 cell stage. So it undergoes different stages. From cell, all the cell clubbed up together to form tissues. Am I right? Then all the tissues will clubbed up together to form your organs, and all the organs in your body clubbed up together to form your organ system. Organ system. Then all the organ systems like your digestive system, your respiratory system, your excretory system, your reproductive system, circulatory system, all clubbed up together to form one particular individual, that is you. Am I right? Therefore, cells are called the fundamental units of life. From one particular cell, so one huge organism, one individual used to arise from. Alright, so next is the structure of the cell. So first you have to keep in mind the three important fundamental structure of a cell. Means the components of a cell, I mean to say. Suppose this is a cell, it will have three main components, that is a nucleus at the center, you have cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is the jelly-like liquidy material matrix, okay, and the outer covering protective layer, which is called as cell membrane. These are the three important parts of a cell. Clear? Now, since we are discussing about cell, so who discovered cell? First thing you have to know. Okay, so next slide, we'll move on to the next slide. So this is Robert Hooke. He's a scientist. In 1665, what he did, he took a piece of a cork from a tree. You know tree, there is a bark, the outer covering of a tree. Suppose this is a tree, the outer covering. So he took out a piece, a bark of a tree, we called it as a cork cell. He took it out, and what he did, he examined under self-made microscope. Then what he sees honeycomb-like structure like this. Box type structure he has seen like this, like how the honeybee used to make their house. Honeycomb like structure, like this structure he has seen. So he named it as cell. So the Robert Hooke was the first one who discovered cell, and he named this compartment as cell. Clear? I'm sorry. Okay, so this is the theory. So the Robert Hooke discovered cell in 1665 while examining a thin slice of cork through a self-designed microscope. Okay, he saw that the cork resembles the structure of honeycomb, consisting of many little compartments. So it had many small compartments. Okay, so these small boxes are called cell. Clear? Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So the question comes, why is the cell called the structural and functional unit of life? So two terminology you have to know, why it is called structural and why it is called functional unit of life. So I have already discussed that why it is called structural unit, because from a particular cell, suppose from a particular cell comes the tissues, all the cell clubbed up together to form your tissues, then all the tissue system clubbed up together to form organs, and all the organs clubbed up together to form your organ system, and all the organ system clubbed up together to form a particular individual. So therefore it is called the structural unit of life. Okay, and why, the next point is why it is called the functional unit. Since it is having, we know that cells are of different types, and we know that tissues are also of different types, organs are also different types, organ systems are also different types. For example, you have respiratory system, you have circulatory system, you have excretory system, you have reproductive system. Okay, so they are having different function. Respiratory system will have gaseous exchange function. Okay, circulatory system will have blood circulation, the purified blood. Excretory system to throw out waste products. Reproductive system to form gametes and all. Okay, they will have different functions. So that is, therefore cells are called as functional unit of life as well. So let us see the theory, what it is saying. This is the theory why the cells are called structural and functional unit of life. So start. A cell is capable of carrying out all the life processes. It is capable of carrying out all the life processes, including nutrition also it is carrying out, excretion it is carrying out, respiration it is carrying out. You can add circulation also, you can add reproduction also, etc. etc. Okay, digestion also is there. Hence it is called the functional unit, since they give different functions. Okay, the next part is this justifies why it is called the functional unit of life. The next point is the cell is the smallest unit of life. The smallest units I have already discussed about that. Cell then forms tissues, then forms organ, then forms organ system. Okay, the cell is the smallest unit of life, and all the living beings are made up of cells. This is true. All the living organisms are made up of cell. Okay, hence a cell is called the structural unit of life. So you can add one more point to it, that from cells it forms tissues, then all the tissues clubbed up to form your organs, and all the organs clubbed up to form the organ system, then all the organ system make up a particular individuals. Okay, clear my point? Okay, now moving on to the next slide. So now we are going to see the scientist, name of the scientist who discovered, who contributed to the chapter cell. Okay, so which is there in your NCERT. The first scientist we have already discussed about, Robert Hooke, who discovered cell in 1665. You have to know it properly. Then next is Robert Brown. Okay, he was the one who discovered nucleus. So Robert Hooke who discovered cell, and Robert Brown who discovered the nucleus. Okay, don't be confused at this. Now let's move on to the next. So we have different scientists. We have here 4 scientists, so who has contributed to different studies. So one is Leeuwenhoek, who discovered free living cells in the pond water. Means what he did, he took a sample of pond water. From the pond he took water, and he examined under a self-made microscope, and in that microscope he saw, under the microscope he saw moving object. So why it is called a free living cells? So freely it is living, it's moving. Okay, so he was the first one who discovered free living cell in the pond water. Clear? Then comes Purkinje. He was a scientist who coined the term protoplasm. Now you have to keep in mind, what is protoplasm? Protoplasm is nothing but nucleus plus cytoplasm. Both whole together is called your protoplasm. Nucleus and your cytoplasm, both whole together is called your protoplasm. Here? Okay. Now next is Sclerodin and Swan. Okay, they are scientists who represented the cell theory, and they have given the cell theory. Okay, that they have also said that all the plants and animals are composed of cells, and that the cells is the basic unit of life. This is true. All the living, be it plant or animal, is composed of cell, and the cell is the basic unit of life. Clear? This is said by Sclaridin and Swan. Clear? Okay. Now coming to Virchow, the last name of the scientist. So he stated that all cell arises from the pre-existing cell. So he named this as a omnicellular e-cellular. Okay. So what he said that cell does not produce by itself, that or God has not dropped the cell and we have to catch it. It's not like that. The cell is there in the earth itself. So from a particular cell which is existing, from that cell only the cell will grow, will divide to form many cells. From one cell to two cell, then from two cell to four cell it will become. Understanding? So he stated that cell arises from pre-existing cell, means cells arises from the already existing cells which are there on earth itself. Understanding? So hopefully you understand. So moving on to the next slide. So few examples you have to keep in mind, which is there in your NCERT from your class 9 syllabus. So I'll take it, where to keep it. Let me keep it here, no space, so I'm moving also. Okay, now you have to know some example of some single-celled organism which are called unicellular organism, and you have to know some example of many-celled organism which is also known as multicellular organisms. So multicellular organism examples are easy. Fungus you know, plants you know, animals you know. Okay, so 4 examples you have to keep in mind for unicellular organisms. They are amoeba, Chlamydomonas, Paramecium and bacteria. Okay, now we'll see the diagrams of these unicellular organisms. Okay, so moving on to the next slide. So these are the few examples of unicellular organisms. This is amoeba, this is Chlamydomonas, this is Paramecium, this are bacteria. Clear? So you have to know the example of unicellular organism for examination purpose. Okay. So moving on to the next slide, there is a concept called division of labor. There is a concept in your book, in NCERT book, you will see a line called division of labor. Okay, so what do you mean by division of labor? Just break the word. Division means to divide. Labor means to work. Okay, so the work has been divided. The work has been divided. Okay, just understand that. So here is a picture showing different cells. Suppose this is the sperm cell, this is ova, this is nerve cell, this is muscle cell, RBCs. Okay, so these are different types of cells present in our body. In our body there are different types of cells, and since the shape and size are different, can you see the nerve is a little bit elongated, the sperm is having a tail, the ova is round in shape, the muscles are spindle like shape, like that. Okay, so they are having different shapes also, and they are having different functions related to the shapes. Understanding? So look at this point. Different shapes and sizes of a cell are related to the different functions they perform. Understanding? So why they are having different shapes and size? So that they perform that particular function. For example, taking to the nerve cells. Why it is elongated? Because it has to carry nerve impulse to the brain. That's why it is elongated. Okay. So why the sperm has a tail-like structure? Why? Because it has to swim to reach the ova. Understanding? So based on their shapes and size, they have different function, and that is called division of labor. Okay, labor means work. Every cells have been divided into different work. Okay, different function they has been divided into. Therefore, it is having different shapes and different sizes. Clear? Hopefully, you are understanding the points. Okay, moving on to the next slide. So this is the homework for you, ending with the introductory part of this chapter. So next class we'll discuss about the difference between osmosis and diffusion, which is there in your chapter. So this is the homework for you. What are the functional regions of a cell? So you have to answer me this in the next class, or you can answer me in the comment section down below.